Hello everyone! Today I will be talking about the blues and jazz music of the Harlem Renaissance and some of the artists who recorded music during that time period. So let's begin, shall we? First up, let's take a look at three of the jazz artists during this Harlem Renaissance. First up is Louis Armstrong. Louis Armstrong was born on August 4th, 1901 in New Orleans. He had a rough childhood, such as when his father William left the family when he was young. Armstrong dropped out of school at the age of 11, and during a New Year's Eve celebration, he was arrested for firing his stepfather's gun and was sent to the colored waste home for boys. While he was there, he learned how to play the cornet, and when he left the home, he decided to start a career in music. The song that's playing is called Heebie-Jeebies, which was composed by Boyd Atkins. The Heebie-Jeebies is a dance in the song. The verse, say, come on now and do that dance they call the Heebie-Jeebies dance. Sweet mama, Papa's gotta do the Heebie-Jeebies dance, is encouraging everyone to dance along. Armstrong initially played in various bands and became a popular jazz player in New Orleans. He moved to Chicago in 1922 and joined his mentor Oliver's Creole Jazz Band. Then he left for New York City 2 years later and joined Fletcher Henderson's orchestra. Armstrong proved to be successful there and turned Henderson's band into the first big band. He continued his career throughout the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s and became well known worldwide. Armstrong died on July 6, 1971 in Queens due to a heart attack. After his death, he was awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award. The song playing is West End Blues, composed by Joe King Oliver. The second jazz artist I'll be covering is Jelly Roll Morton. So Jelly Roll Morton was born on October 20th, 1890 as Ferdinand Joseph Lamoth in New Orleans. He adopted his stepfather's surname when his mother remarried. Morton learned to play the piano at the age of 10, and within a few years he was performing in red light district bordellos where he received the nickname Jelly Roll. His musical style made him be at the forefront of a move that was later known as jazz. The song playing is King Porter's Stomp, composed by Jelly Roll Morton himself. Morton left home and toured the country. He claimed to be the inventor of jazz. While this claim is dubious, his piece Jelly Roll Blues, published in 1915, is believed to be the first work of jazz to be published. Morton moved from Los Angeles to Chicago in 1922, where he began producing his first recordings. In 1926, he led the big band Jelly Roll Morton's Red Hot Peppers, which achieved national fame through their style, which is the foundation of the swing movement. The 4-year run with this group was the pinnacle of his career. When he and the band moved to New York City in 1928, their produced music was gradually considered to be old-fashioned and soon lost popularity. In 1938, folklorist Alan Lomax began recording a series of interviews for the Library of Congress, where Morton talked about the origins of jazz and demonstrated early styles on the piano. This generated interest in Morton and his music, but he could not make a true comeback due to respiratory problems from a stab wound. He eventually died in Los Angeles on July 10, 1941. Morton was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1998 and awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2005. The song playing is Jungle Blues, composed by Jelly Roll Morton. The last jazz artist that I'll cover is Duke Ellington. Duke Ellington was born on April 29, 1899 in Washington, D.C. as Edward Kennedy Ellington. Both of his parents were talented musicians. He began playing the piano at the age of 7 and earned his nickname Duke for his gentlemanly ways. Ellington's first composition was Soda Fountain Rag, which was inspired by his job as a soda jerk. He followed his passion for ragtime and began playing professionally starting at age 17. The song playing is East St. Louis Toodaloo, composed by Duke Ellington and Bubber Miley. Ellington began performing at Broadway nightclubs in the 20s, leading a sextet, which over time became a 10-piece band. He sought out musicians with unique styles like Bubba Miley and Joe Nanton. Ellington and his bands made hundreds of recordings, made appearances in radio and film, and toured Europe twice in the 30s. He stood out due to his blend of melodies, rhythms, and subtle sonic movements and earned 12 Grammys from 1959 to 2000. Ellington died on May 24, 1974 of lung cancer and pneumonia in New York City. The song playing is The Moosh, composed by Duke Ellington and Irving Mills. Next, we'll be taking a look at a couple of blues artists who performed in the Harlem Renaissance. The first blues musician I'll be covering is Elizabeth Bessie Smith. So she was born on April 15, 1890 in Chattanooga, Tennessee. She grew up in poverty and obscurity, and she may have made a public appearance at the Ivory Theater when she was 8 or 9. At around the age of 21, Smith was discovered by Ma Rainey and received some training from her. Smith then toured around the South at tent shows, bars, and restaurants. She then made a home in Philadelphia after 1920, where she was heard of by Clarence Williams, who was a representative of Columbia Records. Smith made her first recordings in February of 1923, with one of them being Downhearted Blues, and made 160 recordings. The song playing is Backwater Blues, composed by Bessie Smith. It was written in sympathy of flood victims she encountered near Cincinnati months earlier, and in the song, Smith almost speaks to the flood. Smith's subject matter was the classic material of the blues: poverty, oppression, love, and a stoic appearance in the face of defeat. In the late 20s, her record sales and fame declined as social forces changed the face of popular music. Nevertheless, Smith, known as the Empress of the Blues, was bold and confident, and her art expressed the frustrations and hopes of Black Americans. She died on September 26, 1937 in Clarksdale, Mississippi, from injuries sustained from a road accident. The song playing is Preaching the Blues, composed by Bessie Smith. In the song, Smith encourages women to listen to her so they can avoid troubles, such as with men that aren't treating them right. The other blues musician we'll be looking at is Ma Rainey, but her birth name was Gertrude Melissa Nix Pridgett. So she was born on April 26, 1886 in Columbus, Georgia. Not much is known about her childhood, except for the fact that she made her first public appearance in a local talent show known as Bunch of Blackberries at the age of 14. Pridgett first heard music that would later become the blues in a small Missouri town in 1902. In February 1904, she married William Rainey, and for several years they toured with black minstrel groups as a song and dance team. The song playing is C.C. Rider Blues, composed by Ma Rainey and Lena Arendt. C.C. Rider Blues tells about a story of an unfaithful lover, which is sometimes called an easy rider. As seen in the verse, C.C. Rider, see what you done. C.C. is used as a wordplay on easy and C. Rainey started singing blues songs and contributed to the evolution of the genre and growth of its popularity. She appeared in jazz and jug bands in the South and was a direct influence on Bessie Smith. Rainey's voice was what conveyed the pathos of her simple songs of life and emotion. Beginning in 1923 and continuing for 5 years, she made about 92 recordings for the Paramount Company and continued to sing in public in the 30s. She died of a heart attack on December 22, 1939 in Rome, Georgia. She was inducted into the Blues Foundation's Hall of Fame in 1923 and the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1990. The song playing is Black Bottom, composed by Ma Rainey. So the lyrics of Black Bottom reference the Black Bottom dance, which was popular in the 20s. scene in the verse, I want you to see that dance you call the Black Bottom, I want to learn that dance. And that's it for this presentation.